Brandon Judd joins us now. Brandon is president of the National Border Patrol Council, which endorsed the Senate's border bill. As we said, you're representing Border Patrol agents on the front line of this issue. You've supported Donald Trump politically in the past. He's against this, but you're for it. Tell us why.
Yeah, I am absolutely for it. But let me go back, and it sounds like I'm not supporting Donald Trump, and that's not true. I continue to support Donald Trump. We are going to have policy disagreements. That happens with everybody. We support the bill because there are measures in here that are very strong as far as border security goes. When you talk about raising the bar of credible fear interviews, that is a huge tool that we can now use. When you talk about putting a cap on the number of people that we take into custody before we shut down the border, when there is no cap currently, that is a huge tool. When you talk about that we can't release single adults, including military-aged men, that is a huge tool. So there are very big tools in this bill that would help us get control of the border, and that's the reason that we support this. We support the border security measures in this bill. There are some issues in there that aren't good, but I would love to see it at least see the light of day so that amendments can be offered up to make this a much better bill.
Doesn't look like it's going to. I mean, we talked about the dead on arrival comment in the House. These are new comments just in on the Senate side from the Republican leader there, Mitch McConnell. Here's McConnell.
It's been made pretty clear to us by the Speaker that it will not become law. So I want to congratulate Senator Langford on a remarkable job of negotiating with the other side, getting the support of the Border Council. But it looks to me and to most of our members as if we have no real chance here to make a law.
All right. So on this particular bill, Brandon, that sounds like the white flag has been waved. Now what? What does this do for, again, the people, men and women that you support that are the front lines of this issue? It looks like they won't be getting help anytime soon, right?
Yeah, that means that we remain status quo, and that just is horrible when you consider what's currently going on. When you consider that we're apprehending 6,500 people every single day, and that's a low day. January is a slow month. When you consider that, it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing that we're not going to get any help. Everything is going to remain status quo. Specifically
on Donald Trump, you said I pointed out you endorsed him in 2020. You said you still support him now. This is your issue.
Absolutely.
Immigration. Absolutely why? Why do you still support him even though he's clearly been the driving force in killing this bill that you also support?
Because when you listen to what President Biden just said, he just said that the Republicans need to grow a spine, and that's not true. He needs to grow a spine. He has the executive authority right now to end this if he would do it, and he won't. If President Trump comes into office, he will end this. This border security bill doesn't end everything, but if Trump came into office, he could then give us the rest of what we need, and that's the reason why we support him, because we know that he is going to do what is necessary to absolutely secure the border, protect the American people, allow us to go after the criminal cartels, to keep the drugs out of this country, to keep the criminal aliens out of the country, to keep those people from special interest countries out of our country. That saves American lives, and that's why we support
So it sounds like
Trump.
it's a timing issue for you. You'd like to get something now. And some people have referred to it as a down payment. Let's do something now. Go to those issues that you talked about later. The Wall Street Journal's editorial board wrote about this morning. I wonder if you agree with this. Let me put it up from the Wall Street Journal on the border security bill that they say is worth passing. If Republicans reject this bill, they will hand Democrats an argument the GOP wants border chaos. They can exploit as a campaign issue. If Republicans pass up this rare chance at border reform, they may not get a better one, which also speaks to timing. You know, if you don't do it now, you might not get it later.
Yeah, I personally thought that it would be good for the Republicans to pass this bill, because then they could say that they forced the administration to do the right thing, that they forced this bill, that they were the driving force behind the bill. I thought that it would have been very good because we know that this will drive illegal immigration down. So I think that it was a winning argument. Why they chose to go the other way, I don't know. But that's for them to decide. I'm not going to decide what they need to do.
No, I get it. But I think, in terms of timing, you're saying that Trump can kind of come in and shut all of this down. But there are some measures there in this law, right, that would be new, would give a new authority to people like the people that you represent. Isn't that fair? And that maybe you don't get that if you don't go forward with it now. In other words, if you don't go now, you might not get it.
Yeah, certainly. It is fair to say that there are absolutely good border security measures in this bill, and that's the reason that we do support it. We know that it's going to give us a cap. We know it's going to give higher bars to credible fear. We know that it's going to do an awful lot. It's very disappointing to me that we're not even going to get to be able to offer amendments that would make it even a better bill.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.